Well, Chris and Brandon are back from their Scottish road trip, and today we've got questions from all over the world. So let's not hang about and dive into Ask EMBN. Guys, did you have a good time in Scotland on your road trip?
It was amazing, Steve. We rode some epic locations. The weather wasn't great, and we did some hiker bike for about 2 hours up a mountain with an e-bike on our back.
So you'll know about some mechanical answers for this week's Ask EMBN then,
I think
right?
so, yeah. We should be ready?
Yeah.
Let's get into it then. So the Ravelin Anvil, he's saying, I've got a 2018 Rally Kodiak. Thanks for the advice, just to go for it. Now that I have it, I have a few rides under my belt and want to get a dropper post. Do you know any go-to brands or the models that you prefer?
I think before we talk about brands, there's some basics here. I mean, should you be running an internal or an external seat dropper on your bike? Has it got the ports for you able to do that?
Yeah.
What about the height of the dropper? Yeah. And finally, I think you can go for a hydraulic seat dropper or actually a cable operated one.
Definitely budget is something to think about, but we've actually done a video all about using your dropper and everything you need to know about a dropper, and that's playing now.
First things first, what you need to consider is how much drop you want on the seat post. This is how much the saddle's going to go up and down. This is the part we measure to see how much travel you actually need. This is a 175mm post from Crank Brothers, this is a Highline model. There's loads of different options out there, 100mm to 185mm. So there's a massive seat post. When it comes to sizing, just think about what seat tube size you're running as well. Lots of options out there, but if it doesn't fit, you can get lots of shims to adapt the seat tube to accommodate whichever size seat post you're buying. When it comes to cable routing, you've got stealth routing. That means that the cabling is going through the bike internally routed, or you have externally routed, which means the cable is going to be outside the frame and will connect to the side or the back of the seat post. Just make sure whichever seat post you're buying is going to be compatible with the cable routing on your bike.
Bob Bobby's asking, I always find myself apologising for cruising past ordinary MTBs on the hills. I usually make a joke, what do you guys do? I know where you're coming from with this. I definitely know where you're coming from. You're going past maybe 15 kilometres an hour and there's guys pushing their old-fashioned mountain bikes up the hill. I usually just say hello, basically.
Yeah, I usually say hello or just say, like, give them a heads up, like, on your, go past on your left, mate. We cruised past a line of about 20 people the other day pushing up this hill up in Scotland where it's just like weaving in and out. But they were cool. They all stepped out the side and just said hello, and they were,
I think the main point is not to be a about it and not to go past flatter. I think you need to have a bit of respect in the same way as you pass maybe a horse rider or a walker on the trail. You just go past. You don't want too much of a differential in speed, right?
Yeah, and a shock as well. You don't want that whole shock of like, whoa, someone's there. So just make yourself aware.
Okay, Scott 5, Chris.
Scott 5, he's saying, have you ever used studded ice tyres on trails with snow and ice? Would they provide any extra traction and, of course, keeping off paved surfaces?
I definitely think they will if you're riding on snow and ice, but I've not done it myself.
I've done a few competitions in the past on snow and stuff. Yeah, did the white style event out, a big slope style event out on snow and ice out there. Yeah. And we actually found a lot of the guys were running to just standard mountain bike tyres, even the just like the freestyle, like kind of slick kind of tyres. There was no problem just on the snow.
Slick tyres?
Yeah, they were running like the normal dirt jump tyres and not sliding out. I went for a slightly more aggressive, not a mud tyre, but just like a big sort of heavy duty tyre.
But there are brands on the market that do spike tyres though, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth the extra. It depends how much you're going to be riding. If you're going to be riding ice, then definitely a studded tyre, a metal studded tyre would be better.
I'd be more concerned about if you can be riding ice, maybe across lakes or something like that. Can you imagine running across a lake?
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
I think it'd be cool, yeah. Of course it'd be cool.
And I've ridden on the snow even in the UK, and I just used a standard tyre, and it wasn't that bad.
I think like Ice Speedway, they use spikes. They must be a place for them, right?
Yeah, definitely a place, but I don't think it's definite go-to.
Go and get some. Let us know how you get on with them.
Andrew Graham's asking, when do you think frame and mid-motor kits will be available? I have a top-of-the-range mountain bike that I would like to transfer the components from.
Is it unlikely? I've heard the foes are going to be doing a frame kit, but I mean, there are motors on the market at the minute, like Bafang do an aftermarket kit, and there's loads of them, different watt hours. You've got watt hour batteries from 500 watt hours to 1,000 watt hours, different watt motors from 250 watt average up to 1,000 watt, and motors like Martin's bike, which are
massive
3,000 watt motors. But I guess the question you're asking, when will there be kits like say like a Levo kit or a high bike fly-on kit or a Merida 160 kit? I think it's going to be unlikely, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see it, but as you say, I think it's going to be unlikely. So fingers crossed. But that Foes one could be on the way, so maybe check that one out.
Yeah. Now, Tiro Valonen has picked us up on our tubeless tyre pressures, which we talked about in a recent issue, thinking that our recommendation of 27 to 28 psi was incorrect, and that Tiro runs 14 to 17 psi in his tyres, depending on the surface. He rides a Focus Bowl 2 with 2.4 by 29 tyres. 21 to 22 psi is the max I would go. And this, so Tiro, you were this about 90 kilos, right, if I recall. I would definitely not go under 20 psi, Chris.
There is no definitive answer on tyre pressures, I don't think. Like, there is no, it depends totally how heavy you are, where you ride, how you like your bike to feel, how you like it, you know, everything is different.
But Tiro is 90 kilos, and he says that our recommendations was too much.
No, I run, for the type of riding that I do and how aggressive I like to ride, I run 30 psi, you know, so it's totally different for everyone. And
but set 14 to 17 is very
super low. I would probably pull the tyre straight off the corner first go with that pressure, or I'd be rimming on rocks and smashing it to pieces.
But you're going to, I think it's Tiro, you're going to be getting a lot of battery consumption using the tyres that low. It's only like if you drive your car or your van down the road with like a super low tyre pressure, the van is revving like hell, right?
Yeah.
To try and get you down the road. So the same applies to an e-mountain bike. So I'd keep it 20 plus if I was.
And I think the type of riding you're doing, I think you could go that low if you're purely riding like smooth cross-country trails. But as soon as you hit like a big rock garden on a downhill, I guarantee you will be rimming the tyre, risking splitting it, and it could be the end of your ride.
Yeah.
So.
Grim Reaper. This is a great question from Grim Reaper. Is what if you live in a small town that doesn't get big companies coming around for test rides? And this is in relation to demo events which we put on the channel. We went to the YT Decoy demo event. We've also been to the Canyon one, and if you live in remote areas it can be quite difficult, but I think there should be shops that you could maybe arrange to have a test ride with to get on your e-mountain bike, or maybe some mates who've got some e-mountain bikes. It's a tricky one though.
Yeah, unfortunately you might just have to travel, you know, maybe catch a train if you don't drive, but getting out to those big events, there's surely got to be a show or a race around you that you could get to. It might take a few hours, but it will be worth it.
So you've just come back from the Tubeless festival. Were there any e-bike demos there?
Loads of e-bike demos, all the big names were there. Demo and e-bike Specialized were there. There was just Canyon. It was literally everyone was there. And that event took us 6 hours to get to, so it is worth doing if it's something, you know.
So that's in Peebles, that's up north, and obviously you've got events in Cannock Chase in the Midlands in the UK. You got ones down south for us. That's just the UK alone. But I checked out the Canyon website, and their test rides over Europe are phenomenal. Kind of so regular. So I'm sure there is something close to you. But if you've got a problem, Grim Reaper, just give us a shout where you live, and maybe we should be able to help you out a bit more detail. Carl Cook's asking, hi fellas, it's probably really simple, but I can't find the how to adjust the geometry on a Spectral on. I know there's a shuttle that you move between two geometry settings, but I don't want to disconnect the rear shock trying to figure it all out. I don't think you need to worry about that. No. Also, it would be good to know the difference between the two settings. Thanks in advance, Carl. So basically it goes from a 33mm drop on the bottom bracket to a 24mm drop. So that's going to lower the bottom bracket on your bike, or heighten the bottom bracket depending on the setting you got. Plus, of course, that's going to affect the head angle of your bike. I think, well, we actually run the bike in the lower setting all the time because that means it's got a better cornering ability to the bike. There's a better lower centre of gravity on the bike. So, but it's up to you really what you choose. And
don't need to actually disconnect the shock. All you need to undo is the bolt actually under the top tube on the bike. Just undo that and you can move the shuttle back and forward and adjust it, as Steve's mentioned.
Chris, this is from Van Del Rigo.
He's saying, hi guys, I have a Merida E160 with a Shimano battery. Just wondering when the battery is fully charged, when the lights stop blinking or when they go off.
When they go off.
I always just leave mine on till they literally turn off. I think if they're still blinking, there's still like a little trickle charge going in, just topping that last bit up.
But Van Del Rigo says that the charger makes a noise. I've not come across a noise on my charger.
No, I've on a few of the other ones. The Bosch, I've heard, you know, you can hear it ticking away sometimes. And one of the other ones, I'm sure it has a little fan in there or something when it gets hot.
I'm a big fan. I'm an extractor fan. So when the lights go off, and but that's if you're going to take the bike out for a ride. I think if you're storing the bike, you shouldn't charge it fully, right?
No, you charge it to about 60-70%. Keep it in a nice controlled environment, and that's going to be the best way.
Haven't you done a video on looking after your battery?
Yeah, we have, on battery care, so that's on screen now. Lithium batteries are generally best kept fully charged, even after a short little ride. If you do regularly flatten that battery, it's really going to struggle to hold a full charge, so keep them topped up. A good little tip as well is don't leave that charger plugged in for hours and hours or days and days away in your workshop or wherever you keep your bike. As soon as that battery's topped up, remove that charger. If there happens to be a charger malfunction, this battery could actually overheat. Real nice way of doing that is by actually putting a timer on the ones that you plug into the wall. Just put 4 or 5 hours on there. That should be enough to charge any battery. As soon as that obviously overruns and times out, you can have no power going to that.
Nick Green, hey guys, I love the channel. Nice from Nick. Would you happen to know how you could buy a Merida e-bike in the USA? I don't think I'm going to go any further with this question because I don't think you can buy a Merida in the USA.
Just Europe, is it? Or
yeah, there's limited countries on that bike. So yeah,
maybe you could fly to Europe, purchase one, and fly back.
Could do.
And leave the battery or ship it.
So basically, the new Merida. Yeah, I suppose you could buy a Shimano battery in the States and just bring a Merida back without the battery, or ship the battery. So yeah, I don't know how that would affect the cost of the bike if you get it from Europe or import duty and stuff like that. Import duty is not our hot subject, right?
No, I'm not up to speed on that one.
But we have done a video on the new Merida if you want to check that out. Now, in relation to the Merida E160, Brett Jacob was asking about the bottom bracket and crank length.
Yeah.
What's the question indeed?
Love the show. Keep up the awesome work. I have a 2019 Merida E160, and I found to get a load of pedal and crank strikes compared to the older 2011 Orbea Raylon he's got as well. I've read that it seems like a common issue for the 900E, and some people have swapped this 170mm crank to the 150mm crank. What's your thoughts about shorter cranks for e-bikes?
Yeah, I mean the new Merida bikes have got shorter cranks in them, but it could be loads of things. I mean, obviously the bottom bracket height is reasonably low on the E160.
Yeah.
You need to look at your shock settings on your bike. You need to look at the type of terrain you're riding, because sometimes I find when you're riding gullies that your pedals hit the side no matter what, right? And you know what's funny? I think pedal height. I mean, if you're are you riding flat pedals or are you riding clipped-in pedals? That would make a difference as well.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But the difference between a flat pedal, which is that thick, and a flat pedal, which is that thick, is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, the width of the pedals as well.
Yeah, I actually normally we ride the Crank Brothers stamp pedals here, and the bike I rode at the weekend had the small version. I usually run the large version, and I actually noticed the difference in the turns, the crank clearance, and the pedal clearance, things like that. So the actual size and the depth as your pedal matters. And also think about, as Steve mentioned, the sag is something definitely you want to check on your suspension. If it's too soft, it's going to be a lot lower bottom bracket. So,
and another thing about the Merida, it comes with 2.8 tyres of stock. So if you change the tyres on your bike, I'm not saying you've done that, but if you do change to say 2.4, you're going to significantly lower the bottom bracket height on that bike. So that could be something. I'm just guessing some stuff here, but I've ridden that bike at length and never really struggled with it.
No.
I mean, it's low, but it's not too low.
Yeah, and I've never really changed the crank length on any of the bikes we ride here on the channel. I've always stuck, and they're usually 160, 165, things like that. They're not crazy long. It's all about technique, I think, is definite key for pedal strike.
And on that cranky, crazy note, that is the end of Ask EMBN. Chris, I love doing Ask EMBNs. Make sure you guys keep your questions coming.
Yeah.
Really happy to help out. And indeed, if you guys want to get involved in the comments and help out in any way, that's even better, right?
Yeah, just hashtag Ask EMBN. Any questions you got, drop us them in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget you can also subscribe to EMBN by clicking the globe in the middle of the screen, and check this video out over here if you want to stick around.